This is Ryan Brown from mockquestions.com. In today's video, we'll be discussing 5 instructional coordinator interview questions. But before we do that, just a quick disclaimer, these questions are not guaranteed to be asked at your interview. I've pulled all of today's questions and answers from our website, mockquestions.com. Now, let's get started. Question number 1. How have you helped teachers understand new technologies for the classroom? When answering this question, use concrete examples if you have any. The main point is to paint a clear picture for the interviewer about the way you engage with teachers. Walk them through what you might do step by step without getting into too much detail. I asked the principal if I can take up some time on Professional Development Day for a seminar to teach the teachers about a new technology. I gather all the teachers on that day and I'll give them an overview of the technology. For instance, it might be a new e-learning platform. I'll show them how a quick tour of the features and give examples of how they might use them in the class. Then I'll have the teachers interact with the platform for 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll have a Q&A session. I take their feedback and then I make sure that they have easy access to me if they have any more concerns or questions. Question number 2. If a school is performing poorly in a certain subject, what are your immediate action steps? Give a brief step-by-step overview of your troubleshooting process. Make sure your answer spans the short term first. If appropriate or necessary, zoom out a little bit and talk about your strategies to improve on the medium to long-term timeline. I'll bring it to the attention of the teachers and ask them if there have been any particular pain points that they are facing. I'll then ask them if there's anything that they can immediately identify that we could be doing better. If there are resources that they needed but weren't given in a timely fashion, things that we can do immediately to improve the situation. From there, we'll talk about deeper issues, such as problems with infrastructure, the administrative system, things like that. These are the things that will give us better performance in the long run. Question number 3. How do you usually determine which textbooks you will choose? Lay out your decision-making process for the interviewer and use if-then language if necessary. Make sure to demonstrate that you would be aligned with the school's principles and values. First, I'd look at what we need to achieve and what the weakest areas were in my last class. If I see that last year my students' social studies scores weren't too good, then I'll look into what the deficiencies were and see if there's any improvements that could come from the choice of textbook. I would ask my colleague for their opinions, and I'd also look on online communities for ideas. I take a look at each textbook and imagine myself teaching it. It's got to be accessible to the children. Question number 4. Tell me about a time when you failed to meet an objective. Describe the objective and how far away from the objective you were. Then describe the steps you took to improve your performance. I was tasked with increasing standardized test scores for math by 25%. I worked hard all year and was able to increase it by 19%. So I looked back on the year and took stock in the things that I could do better. I asked teachers for feedback, and I asked the principal for feedback as well. I even sent a survey to the students' parents. I took all that information and identified areas of improvement. Then I made a plan to improve on each area and invited school leadership to give me feedback and suggestions. Question number 5. Tell me about a new teaching technique in which you recently learned. When answering this question, give the broad points of the technique, tell how you applied them in the real world, and show something that you learned from it by explaining your expectation and how reality deviated from your expectation. Finally, show them how you overcame it. I had never tried small group discussions before. I split up the class into groups of 4 and gave them some discussion questions. It turns out that there were some kids who were doing all the talking, and some kids who just put their heads down and took a nap. I learned that the timing is important. We had just come back from lunch and they had all this energy. Next time, I'm going to factor in the time of day to accommodate their energy levels. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, it would be greatly appreciated if you could like or comment below. Thanks again, and we hope you stick around to watch more interview practice videos from us.